We got this new thing called classism. It's racism's cousin. This is what we do to hold people back. This is what we do. And we got this other thing that's also been working for a long time where you don't have to be racist anymore. It's called self-hate. It works on itself. It's like real estate of racism. Where just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a god, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you, that's who I think I am. Would it have been better if I had a song that said, I am a nigga? Or if I had a song that said, I'm a gangster? Or if I had a song that said, I am a pimp? All those colors and patinas fit better on a person like me, right? But to say you are a god, especially when you got shipped over to the country that you're in and your last name is a slave owner's. How could you say that? How could you have that mentality?
Yeah, when you go on new creative journeys, it is exciting for people to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Especially if people, you know, didn't think that it was possible. Like when I started off in Chicago as an artist, I'm a visual artist. Like I went to art school.
Right.
And I decided to start doing music, and people said it wouldn't work out. And then I started producing and selling beats, and I started selling beats to Jay-Z, Rockefeller, and that started going well. And I said I wanted to rap, and people said that wasn't gonna work. They had this term, producer rapper. It basically meant you wouldn't rap as good as the real rappers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that started working out. Then I said I wanted to design clothes, and then that started working out. So it's really...
When I had my accident, I found out at that moment, nothing in life is promised except death. If you had the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment. A lot of people don't appreciate their moment until it's past. And then you gotta tell those Al Bundy stories. You remember when I... But right now is my time and my moment, thanks to the fans, thanks to the accident, thanks to God, thanks to Rockefeller, Jay-Z, Dame Dash, G, my mother, Rhyme Fest, everyone that's helped me. And I plan to celebrate. I plan to celebrate and scream and pop champagne every chance I get, cause I'm at the Grammys, baby.
Do you ever regret anything you say, or is it just like you just look at it like, hey, I put it out there, it's out there, there's no point in regretting it?
I think people focus too much on the past and focus too much on regret. Even like when you deal with schools, like you take like the slave idea. My point is, I've heard of history class. I've never heard of a class that breaks down how you balance a checkbook or how you control your finances, which my father never taught me that. And I've never heard of a future class. So they keep us so focused on history that we start to believe that it actually repeats itself. And we become overly traditional, and we can't advance as a race of beings. We get too caught up in the past and what everyone's saying and what everyone's tweeting, and sometimes you just have to be fearless enough to break the simulation. And when I mean simulation, this is what I mean by the simulation. Sorry, I know you guys wanted to clap, but everything I'm gonna say is gonna be amazing. Here's the idea why you're in a simulation. Let's start with acting, first of all. And a 2-year-old screams at a restaurant, the entire restaurant screams. Teach that kid how to act. We're all unpaid actors in some giant script that we didn't write. Simulation, a 2-year-old jumps on a coffee table and someone says, that's a coffee table, don't jump on that. So it went from being something that makes him feel like Superman, he's got his cape on, to something where he has to think about this person's like a family member he doesn't like anyway. He's 2 years old, he doesn't give a about a coffee or a table, And he's starting to like calculate all these things. And by the time you're 40 years old, you've got a wall full of coffee tables calculating you into traffic, calculating you into your career choice, calculating you into this townhouse that's not quite as big as the townhouse next, and it just never works. You know, that's the simulation that I'm talking. That's what I mean when I say simulation.
We want is a real shot. Not, okay, I'm a celebrity, so that means my line has to cost $10 a t-shirt. No, I understand about quality. I understand about fabrics. I spent 10,000 hours at this. I dedicated my life to this. Then a lot of people say, okay, well, you know, oh, you have to do music. I'm gonna keep doing music, but what if people told me I couldn't rap? What would have happened? What if people told me I couldn't perform? You know, I'm only 36 years old. I have other goals and other things, and I'm gonna use my platform, every platform, to stand up and say, I wanna make something. I wanna make the next Ralph Lauren. And that was the point of the Zayn interview, that say people don't stand up and protect their dreams. People are too scared of getting, you know, spoofed in a way. And the irony of it is so many people that are creatives, think about a creative person in school. When you picture them, you probably picture them all the way in the back of the class, sketching or maybe getting beat up. And I'm the one creative, and this is the reason why I went on stage. This is the reason why I did this, because creatives have got beat up my entire life. And there's moments where I stood up to drug dealers in Chicago and said, you can't have my publisher, come and kill me. Do whatever you're gonna do, but you're not going to bully me. You're not gonna to stop me, because my mother made me believe in myself. No matter how many people tell me, stop believing in yourself. Stop saying what you can do. Stop affirming what you're gonna do and then completing that in real life. That's the improper way to do it. I refuse to follow those rules that society has set up in the way that they control people with low self-esteem, with improper information, with branding, with marketing. I refuse to follow those rules. It's about truth, it's about information, it's about awesomeness, and the only luxury is time. The time you spend with your family. That's the only luxury. So this concept of luxury is improper to me. It's about, you know, with Nike, with Apple. Do you remember there was phones that cost $4,000? You know, that's ridiculous. Somebody pull out a Virtu phone right now, you look ridiculous. But there's people who still spend $5,000 on this bag, $10,000 on this, to kind of say exactly what I said before. Oh, we're better than you. We're this than you. Yeah, I mean, taste, culture, art, you know, just the quality of life. You know, this is what I'm here to do. So when I compare myself to Steve Jobs or Walt Disney, Howard Hughes, David Stern, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Jesus, or whatever it is, I'm saying these are my heroes. These are people that I look up to. This is the type of impact I want to make on the earth. If I can make this type of impact up to this point, what can I do if you call Bob Iger and say, yo, give him a shot? If you call Oprah and say, yo, back this kid. This kid's his parents were educators. He wants to educate. He wants to look at curriculums and say, how do we simplify that? Exactly what I did in music, I want to apply to product. I want to apply to education. This is what my company, Donda, is about. I could rap all I want. But without that Rockefeller chain and Damon giving me that Rockefeller chain and without getting a record deal, I don't care how many beats I sold to whoever, I couldn't have made it to the point to make Jesus Walks. And now, even as a celebrity, blah, 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 I've reached a ceiling.
I'm not gonna sit inside of a corporation for 20 years. The time is now. The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Well, you know, it's funny, you know, in this world that we live in, there's two main motivating forces, and I tweet about it all the time. It's love or fear. And you can't explain love. You know, my cousin is locked up for murder, and I love him. And so he did a bad thing, but I still love him. And just as a musician, African American, guy out in Hollywood, all these different things, you know, everyone around me tried to pick my candidate for me. Mm-hmm. And then told me every time I said I like Trump that I couldn't say it out loud, or my career would be over. I'd get kicked out the black community because blacks we're supposed to have a monolithic thought. We can only be Democrats and all. So, even when I said it right before I went to the hospital and I expressed myself, and when I came out, I had lost my confidence. So I didn't have the confidence to take on the world and the possible backlash. And it took me a year and a half to have the confidence to stand up and put on the hat, no matter what the consequences were. And what it represented to me is not about policies, and because I'm not a politician like that, but it represented overcoming fear and doing what you felt, no matter what anyone said, and saying, you can't bully me. Liberals can't bully me, news can't bully me, the hip hop community, they can't bully me. Because at that point, if I'm afraid to be me, I'm no longer yay. That's what makes yay.
I felt my nerves a bit, and I don't feel that feeling a lot. The nerves of humility and modesty when being honored. A humanization, a reality of being recognized. And all I thought as I sit here, kind of shaking a little bit, is I need to get rid of that feeling. I need to not be nervous. This honor is going to make your lives easier. 2 reasons. You don't have to defend me as much. And I'm going to make all of our lives easier. And it's these Floyd Mayweather belts that are needed to prove what I've been saying my entire life. Whether it's the cosign of Paul McCartney grabbing me and saying it's okay, he doesn't bite white people, or the New York Times cover, or the Time Most Influential cover, and now a doctorate at the Art Institute of Chicago. When I was giving a lecture at Oxford, I brought up this school because when I went on that mission to create in other spaces, apparel, film, performance, it would have been easier if I could have said I had a degree at the Art Institute of Chicago.